if you want to, where you need it.
How do you know where you need it?
So
If I just
15
grab
after,
and move it where
about
you need it.
13 after, take a break.
Alright, I'll let you know. I'll let you know when that happens.
Dave, you start the show for me. I'm gonna, you know.
You're
Joanna, do you have a card on you? You have a business card?
Oh, yeah.
You could do that jingle twice, one more, okay?
Alright. Try this headset there. Let's see.
Alright, plug it in.
Should be right there.
Either, here's one.
Can you hear okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna squeeze in this way, just a little bit so the camera gets us.
It's kind of nice and catchy.
You like that?
Yeah.
My boys wrote this.
A tune out of the Western.
Alright, you guys do alright. 20 seconds. Here we go.
Can you just see if you can see me in that? I'm gonna get new batteries in. We're gonna stop around 13 after, Dave.
Yeah, you got everybody in there.
Beautiful. Okay. Welcome to the YYesYouCan C2 Brother Radio Show, Real Estate Edition. I'm your host, Jim Lisiaga, with my best pal next to me,
David.
and we have a special guest today, a person that is a realtor that knows all about real estate, Joanna Underwood. Joanna, how are you today?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, we're very welcome to have you. I heard you on the air the other day, and you were talking about foreclosures and FSBOs and the topics of everyone's mind today. Because I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel that real estate is in a depression. What's your opinion? Or can you give that opinion? Number one, we're going to be full disclosures here, okay? So, equal opportunity realtor, right?
Correct. I'm with Caldwell Banker in Oak Brook, and I've been a real estate agent since 1985, so that kind of gives you my age, long time. And things have definitely changed in the real estate since I started. And I believe that this has probably been our most difficult time since I've been in the business. We've never seen the rate of foreclosures that are occurring, short sales. I think before 2 years ago, people didn't even know what a short sale was. And it's, of course, the economy is the one that is, hindering our, I think, bounce back right now, because we're having still a lot of people who are unemployed. Banks are making it very difficult for first-time home buyers or even older buyers to get a loan. And so it's not so much that there aren't buyers out there. I think a lot of it is that it's so difficult for them because of the requirements that the government has made in the banking industry, and that's prevented a lot of them from looking to get a mortgage, so they are going via the rental market. So that market is really strong.
Well, that kind of reminds me of a couple of things. We talked about, this is our third show, Joanna, so on the real estate side of things. And, we were talking about CRA, Community Reinvestment Act, and we're talking about some other general issues here. So it's not, it's funny because it's like full circle. We're not talking about people can't get into housing because unfair housing practices.
Sounds
We're
like
talking
too
about
much of a risk involved.
We're talking about risk that was created in this crazy upside down world of finance today. And it's not just happening in the United States, it's happening in the United Kingdom, it's happening in Asia. It's everywhere. Everything seems to be upside down, in particularly real estate. And so these issues today that we people are talking about, last week, Joanna, we actually talked about young people are more interested today in renting that I've been talking to than actually owning. And you've been in the business for a while. I started in the mortgage end of things, just for disclosure purposes, in 1983. So I've been doing the finance end for years. I got billions of dollars under me regarding underwriting. I mean, you talk about experience. Jim Lisiara has it. And what I'm seeing today is more people are not excited about, like, especially the young people, which you need to get. And I'm going to go full circle here real quickly, but they're not excited in real estate like when we were younger. We saw opportunity, didn't we, Joanna?
Correct. I think more of the younger people are really looking at, well, I'd rather rent. I don't want to make that commitment. They're not making commitments to getting married, so it's just another part of that they would prefer to rent and see how things are going. I think also younger people tend to change jobs more often than we did, or maybe our parents did. Especially in our parents' time, it was when you started with a company, you stayed with that company. You were with them for 30, 40 years. And now, my own experience, my son, has had probably 4 or 5 jobs in the last, since 2004. So part of it has been the economy, and that he was a job, he really liked it, and then was laid off.
I don't think there's also the commitment on the part of the employer too necessarily. There's a vast number of, we can get rid of this person now and maybe bring somebody else in with more talent or more willingness to work with us.
And we were just talking about, and Dave and Joanna and Nick, we were just talking about this on the show prior, where we're talking about illegal undocumented people. And we're talking about jobs a little bit. Roger was kind enough to call in, and Jack was cool, and all these other callers, and they were basically saying, give these jobs, undocumented people some, and most of them are unemployed nowadays, by the way, just like every other American citizen. Like Joanna was just saying, hearing the story about her son being laid off 3 or 4 or 5 times, that's common occurrence today. These companies do not want to have to pay out on benefits, and that's why you're seeing the stock market booming, guys. Because the number one debt for any company on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, every 2 weeks is what? Payroll. So if they don't have to pay out these benefits, they're saving money. If they could turn over people, they don't have to worry about retirement and all that other great stuff that used to come with a job. What do you think? And that's affecting the real estate market, isn't it, Joanna?
Well, of course, because once they run your credit score, you go and apply for a loan, the first thing that they're going to do is run your credit. And then they see all these jobs that you've had, so that doesn't give a good perception to the lender that you're not a stable person because you've had 5 jobs in the last 7 years.
That's really no necessarily control over the individual. It's just the circumstances of the time.
That's correct, but it's still something that lenders don't like to see. They want to see at least you being in the same profession. So if you're an auto mechanic, you're going to be an auto mechanic on your next job and the 3rd job, whatever. But if you're going from being an auto mechanic to working at McDonald's to then becoming a car salesman and then back to an that's not going to
That's definitely inconsistent.
Right.
Yeah, I can understand them being concerned going from one career to the next, but if you're in the same career, that's more stable than...
Correct. That's going to be more stability.
Unless you're upgrading to a different career, say going from somebody working at McDonald's to an auto mechanic.
Correct.
And let me just throw out a number out there, so any callers call in, they could, we would love to have them. 708, I almost said 312. It's 708, 708-493-1530, 708-493-1530. We discussed too on past shows, Joanna, about FICO scoring.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a real big issue as well. As a realtor out there on the front lines, doing it every single day since 1985. Can you kind of talk about FICO scoring a little bit in your profession?
Well, that's one of the scores that the banks are going to look at, so that is going to depend on your credit history. And some people, and I've run across this, you know, they think they have a good credit score because they're paying all their bills on time and they don't have any delinquencies on it. But then we get their credit score back and it's not anywhere near where they expected it to be. And the reason is that if you have lots of credit cards and you are near your credit limit on that credit card, that's going to affect your FICO score. So what's happening is these people come in and they say, oh, you know, I have all this credit, I'm always on time, and you know, I'm not going to have a problem renting or applying for a loan. And then we proceed to run their credit, especially for a rental situation, and then their score comes back at 560 or under that, and right away they're going to have a really difficult time renting a property. Because just like the bank, a landlord is going to feel very uncomfortable when you have all this debt out there and you're close to your debt limit. So if anything happens, you're going to be underwater immediately. So that's another thing to consider. Even if let's say your credit limit is $500, and maybe it's just a store credit card, and you have a balance of $450 on that credit card, it's going to give you a negative, it's going to help create a negative report for you. So those are all things you need to consider. The other things that we're coming across now is when you first applied for a loan back
yeah.
in the day, they would run your credit score as soon as you applied for that loan. And then, you know, most people, all right, they ran our credit score, you know, we're approved, we're going to go out and buy furniture, we're going to go buy appliances, so that when we get ready to move into the house, these things are all going to be delivered and they're going to be, you know, what we need, the new living room set or family room set, whatever. Now the banks are running your credit score up to a week before closing. So what's going to happen is that if you've gone out there and you've spent a lot of money to furbish your new home, your credit score just went down the tubes and that loan's not going to qualify anymore.
And Joanna, you'd mentioned something about qualifying in a week before the FICO score, and they pull another thing. And when we come back on the break, remember, this is a fast 30-minute show. We're going to be right back, folks. Listen to the jingle. We'll be right back. Stay tuned for YYesYouCan, C2 Brother Radio Show, Real Estate Edition. We'll be right back, guys. A lot of info, so when we come back, I'm just